The future is green. Yes, green means sustainable. But we're talking about the green, commonly known as hemp, ganja, weed, or cannabis if you want to keep it small. But the world of weed and cannabis is much bigger than smoke and mirrors. I'm Lakai Natasha.
I'm Dr. Snap.
I'm Kendall, the farm plug.
And I'm Antoine Mordican.
And this is Growing the Green.
Welcome to everybody. I hate to and love to inform you, this is our season finale of Growing the Green. Like to give much love to Snapper. He's not here to join us today on this finale as he traveled the world. Enjoy yourself, brother. But as we go into this week's news episode, we got a lot to share with you. I would like to touch on a national level first, because we absolutely love what's happening out in Florida. Shout out to the people of Florida that's going to exercise their legislative right by going to vote at the ballot if you all should be able to have recreational cannabis in the state of Florida.
Well, yes on 3 is what they're saying. I don't know.
Amendment 3, that's what it is? Mm-hmm. Vote yes. If that's what it is, or vote no if you're against it. You can play whatever side you want, but make sure you exercise your legislative civic and duty. Make sure that you do that. And to be able to get more into the local news, we had a lot going on here in Alabama the last couple of weeks. The first bill I'd like to talk about is SB 276, which is the bill that was presented in the Senate to be an increase the number of licenses for vertically integrated for dispensaries and also for processing license. It's been held up in the committee for the last 2 weeks now, and it actually got voted out of the committee this past Tuesday or Wednesday. It made it out of the committee. It made it out of the committee with an amendment. They will no longer do 15 vertically integrated license. It will be 10 vertically integrated license. But the unique thing about this bill is that it would grandfather in everybody that was already awarded a vertically integrated license.
Well, so they just increase it with the grandfathering.
Yeah, so it'll be 10 total, 9 folks grandfathered in, and it'll be one left to be competed for. Wow. And I'm pretty sure y'all can kind of guess who that's going to go to.
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. It's whoever's raising it's whoever's stirring the pot.
Who made the most noise?
We do know.
Yeah, we know.
Go back and watch the videos.
Yeah, who's gonna go for that one? Mm-hmm. And then we have another bill as well. I can't remember the exact name of the bill, but the Department of Agriculture, it actually made it through the committee as well too. It should be making it to the Senate floor. The Department of Agriculture wants to remove themselves from as a priority regulator of as the medical cannabis program. They'll pretty much give absolute power to the commission, and the commission will pretty much contract with the Department of Agriculture. Yeah, with the Department of Agriculture.
Let's kind of talk about it for a little bit. Now, are we talking about the State Department of Agriculture?
Yes.
Okay, now let's be mindful. This is the same department who already recognized that they did not have the capacity to sustain hemp licenses.
That's correct.
Right? And if we're giving credit, here you have a commission that is committed to delivering the licenses. So, can we also just go ahead and give them the power to sustain that? Since they came up with all the rules, they're executing, they're having to revert back,
That's basically what the State Department of Ag is saying.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Department of Agriculture never wanted their hands in it. So this is
true. If we go back all the way to 2014, when hemp was already legalized, the feds gave it up first. The feds are the ones who legalized it. Could have been the regulators. Yeah. They're the ones who gave it to the state.
Yeah, they made the
states go into it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they was pretty much voluntold, and now they pretty much like, we ain't doing this no more. I don't know what their budget was looking like, because now I remember the actual law. I don't think it was ever a budget created for the Department of Agriculture. So
which means, and to your point, there was only ever one person who had to be in control of the entire state for hemp licenses alone.
Which was the Department of Agriculture. So they got a bill going forward. Be on the lookout for that. Participate in your legislative process. Follow the bill. We also have another bill, which is SB 390, I believe, by Senator Tim Melson, which is ultimately will restart the vertically integrated application process. They're pretty much going to create and set more stricter requirements and criteria to be able to be a vertically integrated license. They're also going to take that power out of the commission to be able to select, and they're going to give it to the SEC, the Security Exchange, what's that C for? Commission. That's who will be the ones picking the vertically integrated license.
So how does that impact the bill that you just talked about?
Yeah, do they run at the same time?
No, they are all separate. So one bill may die, and some of that bill may get added as amendment to a bill that's in motion.
So we're trying, there are two bills out. One is seeking to regulate or shift the regulation in the number of vertically integrated licenses.
It's 3 licenses.
And then
Three bills. It's 3 bills.
Okay. One is shifting to move the number.
To increase the licenses. The other is for the Department of Agriculture regulations, and the other one is to reset the vertically integrated process.
So I'm talking about the first one and the third one. So if the first one passes before the third one, they will basically have to all reapply again based on the amendments of the third one?
Yeah.
Only if the third one passes.
Right, so if the third one passes, that basically restarts the entire process.
Yeah.
Which would make sense to restart the whole process if you're going to increase the licenses and have certain people grandfathered in. Because if I try to grandfather you in, but you don't meet this criteria, then you actually get grandfathered out. So it's a creative circular kind of thing going on, depending on what gets passed.
It's kind
of, but grandfathering is not technically a system that's interrupted.
That's why it's grandfathering.
Right.
Because you're supposed to just get it.
Exactly.
Inherit it.
Exactly.
But
so
if they restart the whole
process,
process, then you're not necessarily grandfathered in.
right. So if the third bill passes, it's going to actually nullify some of the content in the first bill.
That's what you're saying. It would have to be an amendment.
Yeah.
So whichever one passes first would then be amended by the one that's passed second.
Yeah,
basically.
and that's if anybody feels it's necessary to add an amendment to it, or they could just overall just allow for that bill to die and go away.
Okay.
Which I'm hoping that's what they decide to do.
Okay.
They can. I'm cool with what Senator Tim Nelson has presented because it only makes sense with the litigations and everything.
It's the most fair approach.
And then reset it.
It
seems fair. It's as fair as it possibly can get. And then I gotta respect the man that brought us the medical cannabis program. So you did it the first time. Good luck the second time.
Let's keep it
alive. And I'm also really excited about the fact that, if it gets restarted, it'll probably take a long time again to get.
But their goal is to expedite it. They want this done.
By what, June?
June, I think the dates I remember seeing is June 15th. They supposed to be issuing the license.
Happy birthday, Dad.
So I guess the interesting part is going to be, what does the amended application process look like? How is it going to be a little bit more stricter?
That's what I'm thinking about. Like, I don't know how I personally, in my honest opinion, feel about 10 vertically integrated licenses in the state. Especially when I think about, all of the individual businesses that are involved at every step of the industry leading up to the point of vertical integration. Like, I think that it was, when we think about the notion of a free market, I think that is the most accessible way to do it, is to break it up in segments, right? So that way more people can have a place to enter and more people can actually compete, right? Because at that point you don't want it to be a situation where this person has the most security guards, they pay the most, so that's what they got, but their service isn't actually good, right? If you're a secure transportation person, right, like you don't want your product being moved around by somebody who's not good at their job, right? That's like having a surgeon that got a D. Like, you passed, but you don't want that guy. You know what I'm saying? That's not the guy you want, right? And how does that impact the business? We think about laws, you think about insurance, all these different things. Like, So
we got a few interesting things coming out in Alabama. It's what, 7? I think it's either 8 or 7 days left of the legislative session. So I think that's what, 2 weeks or 2 or 4 weeks.
And
or
then
something
they read for how long?
I have to get back to you.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to ask
like they go on summer break or something.
They do. They do. Then they'll come back again. That'll be it for 2023 through 2024.
Oh, they probably just close out the fiscal year.
Yeah, that'll be it for that year. Then they'll come back. I guess after the election.
Okay, so when we kind of reflect on the fiscal year, or even this closing of the year, especially you, Antoine, I mean, and it can be relayed across the board because of the various levels of engagement or involvement. Like, what are some of the biggest takeaways, or what are some of the biggest, points of impact, the biggest
general, like,
shifts that have happened, you think, in this last year?
I would have to speak to folks actually listening and being interested in participating in a legislative process. it's a lot of stuff that goes on behind these closed doors, which we're not necessarily aware of or pay attention to. And a lot of folks that's been kind of curious or just kind of following everything, they've been paying more attention. You know, maybe it took an individual like myself to be able to bring it in front of them, you know, because I hate to say it took Donald Trump to get in office for me to start paying attention to the legislation, just in politics in general. I'm like, damn, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it took you to get me interested again.
Trump made it interesting, but that's when I learned a lot of the stuff it is that we can and what we can't do, and ultimately us as the people, we have the ultimate control. We put these people in places places of power. They don't do right, get them on up out of there. Don't keep voting for these folks and you know they not doing right, regardless of your respectable parties or however you feel, you green, you red, you blue, whatever. Just go ahead and make sure you participate in your process and stop voting for folks that you don't necessarily believe
I also think it's really important too, because when people get involved, like I am in a space of questioning like the relationship between like capitalism and democracy. Like if you don't have enough money to run, then your voice isn't even loud enough to be considered. And I don't know, you know, like that just leaves so much of society out. And I understand that that's a reason why a lot of people don't want to get involved. But I think that even in the society we imagine beyond whatever's going on here, right? It takes the practice of participation, right? So if you ain't participating now, when things are cool and dandy, like you won't be able to say that you really, I'm not gonna say you didn't contribute, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because arguably the people doing all the other stuff. But one of the things that stand out for me upon, you know, looking and even taking the time to vote, like for the first time in years, myself, I'm gonna say it. But going through the process, it helped me really understand just how much energy is going into making this inaccessible. Like I remember we were reflecting on, you know, our voting processes and like the language that they put in there. Like it can be confusing. And I'm in a policy PhD program and I'm literally like, so wait, I had to read it 3 times slow. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and it's also super localized. Like you're voting on things that happen in your county, right? Your county commissioners, your mayors, your city council. Like these are the people who, you know, regardless of how we feel about the system and how it operates right now, like the potential of what's going on right now, to maximize and get past it, we have to make certain decisions now. And voting is only what, 2 days, 3 days out of 366, like 65, 66? No, this year is 66.
Leap year.
It's a leap year. So yeah, you gotta show up, you know what I'm saying? And it's only 1 day, maybe 2 days. Like, you know, go outside. And if people are doing so much to repress your vote, obviously it means something to show up and do something with it. And also for me personally, I know we get tired of the foot soldiers talk, like, yeah, them people died. Well, homie, this is my day. Class started 2 hours ago. Oh, my day. And I feel that. And also I know my ancestors went through too much to secure my right to vote. So for me to not exercise that, and it only takes 2 hours depending on where you are, you know, if even 2 hours, I can't make that excuse.
And I think there's, you know, for me, there's the connection between it all, and then there's a reflection that I have this morning. So I think there's more conversation, right? There are more intentional conversations around the influence or the development or the opportunity, the definition of the cannabis industry. With that conversation, we do mobilize, empower, equip, and educate people to go out and get engaged in their legislative process. Even if they don't go out and directly get engaged, to talk, even if the conversation, word of mouth, I don't care what you say, it's still the like #1 form of advertisement.
Period.
Right? So having those conversations, planting these small seeds, you know, taking those 3 minutes to give your pitch about what it is you do in the industry, it influences, you know, it not only influences, but it also provides connectivity, which we just experienced right before this show. Awesome opportunity. Someone here in the state of Alabama looking to go all the way to California to participate in the process, when we have opportunities right here within the state to do the things that he wants to do, right? So having those conversations also builds our network. Now, for me personally, when I think about the cannabis industry, I'd actually think about energy investment and where it's going. I feel like we are definitely investing a lot of energy in establishing the legislative process for medical cannabis. I feel like there's a lot of energy there. To your point, I think that there are some large corporations that are trying to benefit off of these conversations being had.
For sure.
No
If
doubt.
you're on social media, lately Ben and Jerry's is like, we're having a conversation, but we're not pushing decriminalization as a part of the conversation. Sign up is something like Wake and Bake they got going on for 420, but there's no information outlined on this call to action. To me, y'all just increasing your newsletter. People who are signing up for your newsletter.
Cross advertisement.
Right, because 420 is right around the corner.
And we got you a good ice cream.
Right. We got an ice cream that goes along with the name, so we increase the sales too.
Yeah, that's all money at the end of
So
it.
we're increasing sales too. So I think about the energy and how we put it into. So I like you when you talk about foot soldiers, because there's still foot soldiers in the game right now.
For
It's
real.
the people leading the conversation.
Necessary.
Yeah.
Shout out Alabama Arise. Black voters matter. They be outside. Y'all be turned.
Yeah, and they're leading the conversation, providing people access, resources, the confidence to engage in the political process soundly, with an educated engagement, right? But mind you, I do come from a hip advocacy space, so
Yeah.
Still though.
right?
Very
Still.
much. Very much so.
Still here, didn't go anywhere. And so I support definitely setting up the legislative process so that we can nix the redlining before it even hits the ground, right? Also supporting and understanding that with legalization, we say legalization does not mean decriminalization. And if we don't have as much energy going into decriminalization as we do as legalization, we're going to have a whole nother strong
problems.
fight to fight on the next end. And that doesn't, but what we have to remember as a community is that we actually don't miss out on, if we didn't engage in the medical license, if we didn't engage in the medical cannabis process, we still could benefit from the gain of the hemp industry alone.
Yeah. And when I actually reflect on this season and all the stuff we done talked about, one of my favorite episodes that kind of brings what you're talking about to light was Dr. Olufemi, when we featured Dr. Olu with Alabama State University, just to even learn about the work that they're doing. And I have so much respect for Alabama State and the way that they, like their arts and culture department, the way they show up in tandem with the city and always bring art and culture to the forefront of anything that goes on. I deeply love, respect, and admire that. Because when we think about the foot soldier, like we can't, we've been having a lot of conversation about culture, right? With all the diss tracks, like is hip hop culture back? We don't know. It's so much going on. But it's just interesting to think about how all of these things interact. What happened? What? Now we want to know.
No,
You can't do that right when we say that. You made me think Kendrick responded or
No,
something.
it's going up on the timeline. I can't stress it enough. But keep
Oh my God. Yeah, so Drake responded today, so we had to hear that. Which kind of just distracted me from what I was about to really say. I think I was going...
Alabama State is.
Oh yeah, Alabama State, art and culture, and the infusion of the two, right? Like, there's a conversation that is happening on a national level, right? Hence the National Cannabis Fest. And I think that political engagement is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like and what you said, there are so many ways to get politically engaged. And once you start getting engaged, you start following the money and you realize like, yo, medicinal cannabis is cool, but it is a drop in the bucket of the potential of all of the things we can actually be doing with this plan. And I really, really love, again, Alabama State and their approach, because they've been going hard with hemp. They are just looking to diversify their portfolio of sorts, but to never forget that hemp is the plant that slaves was growing before it was cotton, it was hemp, right? The sails on the slave ships, the rope on the slave ships, that was all made from hemp. So us as black people, especially black people, we have an intimate relationship with this plant. And it's important for us to explore that in innovative and creative ways so we can imagine alternative realities to the situation that this plant also has played a major role in getting us into. So
That just brought something to my attention that's been going on in the conversation lately with a lot of the states are putting in place a hard divide in between hemp and, I guess, I don't like to say marijuana, but cannabinoids. So right now, I can't remember which state it is. I think it's Iowa, Idaho right now. They pushing for something to pretty much, it's going to be a difference between industrial hemp and CBD and cannabinoids, THC,
Right.
and all that. They are completely separating those. So like in
Which
the,
Dr. Finney talked to us about.
yep,
right?
in the upcoming farm bill, we should expect that probably this upcoming September to see a lot of language on that. That's going to really put a solid divide in between those, and it's actually a lot of cannabis operating companies in the nation that are actually pushing for this, in which I kept telling a lot of folks, like, just be prepared. Like, the CBD that y'all doing is hemp derivative is cool right now,
It's
but best
going
believe they gonna crack down on it, and that's what they pushing for now. And CBD and everything, that industry and the hemp deprived industry is gonna ultimately get absorbed by the.
There was just a
the
bill that
medical
passed in
recreation.
Alabama.
Okay.
You know, this THCA loophole that we was talking about. They just passed legislation a couple weeks ago
Yeah, but the vape
to
is-
change the definition to encompass all THC derivatives, forms, or anything. So anybody out here, like a lot of these vape shops, they've been selling THCA, calling it, you know, it's still weed, but it's technically not, you know, like all the loopholes, but they cracking down on that.
They're
So
gonna put all all cannabinoids are
Don't
gonna
go on
fall under the medical licensing process. And to the point, the cannabinoids are where we give the responsibility. That's who we deem responsible for, you know, our the medical influence of the plant, right?
Yeah.
That's who's responsible, the cannabinoids. And if you're really advocating for the medical potential of cannabis, you recognize that it's not THC in isolation that contributes to your benefit.
Entourage. We need the whole squad.
Entourage, right? We need all of the cannabinoids. So if we're
Full
gonna say
spectrum.
medical, then go ahead, put all the cannabinoids over there. But even to your point about ASU, and when I'm even thinking about the distribution of energy, when I think about ASU, I think about the distribution of energy in research, right? And where does that actually fall? Which is why I go back to the foot soldiers, because the foot soldiers are here making the legislative process and making these, you know, policies. They're putting that in order. But I'm telling you, no one's researching. There might be a soft science somewhere, soft science, but all science is real science. All right, but so there might be someone in the humanities department or studying human interaction who might be looking at this legislative process. But when we think about the hard sciences or the quantitative sciences, the analytical sciences, these are people, they're not looking at the legislative process. They're not. They're looking at various implications of the hemp plant.
yeah, I think if they are looking at it, it's only to be sure that they're in
Working within it.
compliance. It's for compliance reasons,
They
not
want to
for
make sure they're
creativity.
following the rules, right? Because they're exploring, which is interesting because the innovation is behind the knowledge that's in the research, right? So we saw the plant. They were like, okay, y'all can't regulate the percentage THC or cannabinoids, so guess what? Our research just went around your regulation. We just gonna create this new strand that it's not gonna fall into that category, and we're gonna keep moving forward with our investigation. So
Yeah, I mean, the fact that there are so many CBN, CBV, CBG, CBA, like, we have no idea, like, and that's just thinking about the relationship of the plant and our ecosystem, the ecosystems of our body. We have not even really tapped into, when you talk about regenerative agriculture, like the bioremediation rates, like its ability to cleanse the soil, clean the air, pull the CO2 down. Like, we know that it can regenerate 3 times, almost 15 times the speed of a forest, but what does that quantify to, right? Like, and it's crazy because, you know, the whole premise of this, of growing the green, is the impact of, you know, communities that have been disenfranchised through the war on drugs and climate change, you know. And regardless of how people feel about Palestine and Gaza, man, every bomb that get dropped is a situation in our air that at some point we gonna have to inhale, breathe, drinking our water. We're gonna have to deal with this at some point.
as Jamaica says, when America coughs, they sneeze.
Period. Like, don't cough on me, dog. You're passing something over here, right? So, like, funds, and to build on what you said, like, not only the research and the energy, currency is energy too. Where are the dollars going? You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone knows that climate is real, but how are people actually responding and manifesting and realizing real solutions that create resilient, strong, solid communities that are healthy, You know, like, what does this look like, and how are we quantifying this with the very real like numbers of 2030 and 2050?
Let's look at the numbers, because when under Biden's administration, he puts out all of this money for climate change initiatives. Right? There's public information out right now that talks about who are acquiring or securing these dollars and what they're putting them towards. How many, there are dollars, I know for a fact, being in the realm of academia, there are dollars that go towards exploring cannabis as regenerative or sustainable agriculture, right? There are also other projects that are presented in the realm of climate change, but we can see, you know, we can do our research and determine, you know, during this administration, how that money has been divided. What can we expect? To your point, where's the money going? Because don't get so lost in this conversation over here that you're not following the trajectory.
You've got to walk into
of this capitalistic system.
All the money, so I'll tell you where you need to go.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hear what people say, but you need to watch how they spend their money, because ultimately, wow, Amir, we kind of need you to let us know what time it is and where we stand, because I don't really know. All right, cool. So yeah, but we gotta follow the money, because this is the thing that is shaping policy, and that brings me back to my initial question, like the relationship of money on, you know, free speech and people's ability to stand on and speak for what they believe in. Like, we're coming to real times, if this thing was ever real, right? Like, if free speech was ever a thing, we're coming to a time where we gotta, like, is it really though? And if it's not, how do you say what you need to say, or how do you stand on what you stand on? How do you advocate for your community without, you know, maybe putting yourself in danger? Or
On these two. On these two legs, you stand on your own business and you speak for yourself. You know, it gets funky when you're trying to use other folks' channels or platforms. That's when they try to censor you in such a way that you're not able to really say what you really want to do or how you feel about it, or even to make the impact that you really want to make. You know, as I say, you know, it's a lot of scared folks out here. So when you in certain spaces, you know, just because of their fears, they may not allow for you to truly be yourself. You know, you may not be able to truly speak up. You may not be able to truly advocate. You may not be able to truly organize. You may not be able to truly become an activist and be able to, most important, serve your purpose in this life and what you're ordained to do. And it's the fear of those folks that'll kind of get you kind of messed up. But yes, it's a lot. It's just a lot that we kind of got to do in that. But we just got to push through, man. Move fearlessly, relentlessly. Do you, boo boo? Do you?
So what does that look like, right? Like we're gonna be on break for the summer, but we got some cool stuff that'll be popping off even next week. So stay tuned, because we gonna be outside and we gonna show y'all and tell y'all about it. But what are you all thinking? What are your anticipations and hopes, and dare I say expectations, of this industry in Alabama and the United States?
Stay encouraged, stay inspired, and stay motivated. Move forward motion in every direction. Never step back. You may take a little slight step sideways, but don't get out of nobody's way. If they're in yours, run them over. That's what I'm pushing for this year, because I'm really tired of a lot of the nonsense and jargon, especially now I've been heavily involved in politics and what's been going on. Sometimes you just got to come down and shake up the room.
I'm with you. My expectation is the constant conversation and ringing of unapologetic truth. Let us move forward, but let us not be silenced. Let us speak out on our own. Let us tell our stories. Let us talk about our impact. I don't want to hear no fluff. People be out there trying to get some fluff, trying to get you just the only person out there telling that one story. No, that story is repeated a million times. No. Tell your individual story. Tell the stories of your community. Tell the stories of your people. Tell the stories of how this thing has impacted you. Let us move forward in truth. Silent. And then to your point about the legislative process, about having power and money, right? This session with I'm gonna get all the numbers wrong. SB 276.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah. When it came out though, the fact that the sessions happened the next day, come on. Capacity to show up, stop playing me. The fact that
we organizing, the people showed up.
The people showed up, and 80%, 95%, 99% of the people were essentially against what was being presented. But in the closing comments, it sounded like we don't care.
Already in your pocket. The money already in the pocket.
We don't care. matter what you
secured
think.
already.
We hear you. We think that's selfish of you. And we're not going to make a move. The next session will have it to be a closed session. Thank you all for showing up today. That's what they did, right? So to your point. So may we continue to speak our truth and stand on it, tell the stories about our impact, because I do believe that's what supersedes in all of these things.
I would build on that too, and I would say to find your power in your truth, right? And sometimes your truth looks like your lived experience. Sometimes your truth looks like the research you do in the lab. Sometimes your truth looks like all of the articles that you read and wrote that literature review on. Sometimes your truth looks like galvanizing your people, you know what I'm saying? Calling, rising them at M for MM and getting it cracked. Like, everyone has a different role to play. And I think the beautiful thing about this industry, because it's so new, because it's outside is going up, it's turned, no matter where you look, it's something going on that cannabis can play a role in, has something to do with, or can be remediated by. Cannabis got something to do with these things, right? It's just about how creative and innovative is your perspective. And so I think as long as people are staying authentic in themselves, that what Alabama does, because just again, that conversation with Dr. Olufemi, where we landed on was what could it look like if all three, A&M, ASU, and Tuskegee, come together to create safe space for young black kids, for young kids of color, to be able to imagine and create and make real alternatives for a plant that has literally ended so many people's lives, you know? So there's so much potential there. And, you know, I'm excited to see what happens. Even like, you know, a young kid from the west side of Chicago going to DC to speak at the National Policy Summit on 420, right? On these weekends.
And I think that's
right?
funny. I want us to acknowledge that, right? As much as people may try to shun, they still utilize the culture of cannabis that existed prior to its legalization. 420 was 420 before 2014. So then the fact that the feds, the federal government, or the White House in DC, the fact that they will still convene around these, you know, cultural dates, it means something. It means they acknowledge the industry.
So tell us more about this before we sign off.
Next week will be a phenomenal week. We'll be out in Washington, D.C. at the National Cannabis Festival. Out there it's really an all-week situation. I believe it's from the 16th to the 20th. We'll be out there lobbying. We'll be connecting with our legislators. We actually had a meeting this morning about meetings that we already have set up with certain legislators. Unfortunately, I won't be there till the 18th, so I'll catch the tail end of it, but we'll be at the White House. We'll have a visual outside the White House, and then we'll get into the festival, all the events and the panels and the conversation that'll be going on then. And I'll actually be speaking on 420 at the National Cannabis Festival. And our topic, the panel I'll be speaking on, it will be talking about advocacy and grassroots organizations to really make, you know, policy impact, you know, in your respective areas. And with me being, you know, I've been a part of whatever's been going on here in Alabama. Whatever it is, I've been here. And how we've been kind of able to get everything in motion, just have that conversation, encourage and inspire more folks to do so. And as we continue to do, you know, we uplift what we're doing here in Alabama on the national stage. You know, we hold it down and, you know, continue to put on. And also let folks know, no one can grow the green alone. No one can grow the green alone. It takes a group of us to continue to move forward and keep doing everything we need to do. So hope to see a lot of y'all out there in DC, and we'll have amazing content for y'all in the future.
Ashe, he already said it. I don't have to. Let's keep growing the green together, and we will see you all, if not in DC next week. Definitely be sure to hit subscribe, be locked in with us. We got a lot of beautiful things upcoming, so that's growing the green, y'all.
Peace.
Mr. Thomas with Punchy Fruit Juice Blends, thank you so much. We about to taste your stuff. Ooh, no diddy. We're gonna pour this up. We're gonna pour up each flavor and give it a sample. He gave us so much. Which one y'all want to start with?
Whoever.
Yeah, peach.
I got watermelon lemonade.
Oh, I got fruit punch.
Well, they got something over here.
Well, it don't matter. Let's taste them all one at a time so we can talk about
Let's
it.
start with peach.
You fill this joint up to the top too.
Hey, that's something to know.
Don't skimp me. Thanks.
Smell the peach.
You say, you gotta let it aerate, swirl it.
It's wine. It's juice. Oh, this is fresh pressed juice in Bessemer, Alabama. Ooh.
It's good.
With real
It's
fruit
really good.
juice.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, he fresh.
That's tasty.
Where he get peaches like that from this time of year?
I don't know.
Them
Probably
peaches
went
are
down
bussin'.
to Calera, Clinton, whatever one of them is that be out there growing.
Say Georgia ain't got the peaches.
Nah, Alabama got it.
For true. This good.
How did they get the term Georgia peach? I always question that. Cause when
It was the booties. If you look at the
Like,
booties.
oh, that's why they call them Georgia peaches. I thought maybe because they grew peaches, but then I learned Alabama grew all the peaches. I'm like, wait, what?
In South Carolina.
That's crazy. Which one is this?
This
Lemonade?
is lemonade.
Oh.
Smell lemonade. Damn, that was good too. It tastes a little different though.
It's not like what I thought.
It's
lemonade
not
is.
everywhere.
It's not like
no
lemonade. It's like it's
Yeah. It's like lemon juice.
I think we gotta do it one more time because I taste peach in mine.
yeah, maybe with the peach mix. in
Oh,
there.
that we taste. Or I could see if. Yeah, no, I like the peach more as of now.
Yeah, that
The
peach is
got
good.
the
That
W
peach
for me.
busted. I'm sorry. I'm just.
It just kind of took over the lemonade.
Yeah.
Nah, peach got it.
Peach got it for me. It's not because when I hear lemonade, I'm expecting one thing.
You're expecting the punch.
I'm expecting the.
This definitely tastes like juice.
It's like
not
juice,
lemon-
not
not
like
lemon juice.
tang.
Yeah.
It's not tang. Yeah, they don't have that
Definitely missing
citrus
that.
punch.
Yeah,
It ain't not good.
It's good. Yeah.
definitely.
The
that.
peach just busting.
Okay, fruit punch. Fruit punch. We really running through these things. They really good. I'm a big gulper. Damn, no Diddy.
That's crazy. That's 10 now.
Diddy!
My fault, Diddy.
Bleep that out.
My fault, Diddy. It's funny though.
My fault. It's funny.
Hey, he flew away on a plane. You know what he did. This is fruit punch.
This got pineapple,
I taste the pineapple.
orange, and strawberry. You know, when they be like fruit punch, I'm be like, with what?
What's all the fruit?
It
Pineapple.
tastes like fruit punch.
Yeah,
Orange and
that was
strawberry.
good. Man, that peach still taking. That peach still king.
Man,
That's because he
was
got
good.
those locally. He got that peach.
He
locally.
had to. This too
No, them
good.
peaches good now.
Yep.
It almost
Pineapple and peach.
It's still heavy on the peach.
Yeah, no, the peach takes the cake.
It probably it's
But you know, we ain't taste watermelon yet.
Watermelon lemonade.
Which, you know, my spidey senses is tingling.
well, you know, me love watermelon, yeah. But it's interesting because he made it watermelon lemonade and not just watermelon juice. You know, I love watermelon juice.
Which, you know, I judged you for, but it is pretty delicious.
Sleep on it if you want to. More for me.
This my favorite. No, it's not. Peach is, but that tastes like a Jolly Rancher.
It does take like a watermelon Jolly Rancher.
That's my pick. First, second, third, fourth.
I would agree. I might switch these two.
Now
But
we
they're
just
interchangeable
ranked
for
it,
me.
but
Man, juice.
scale 1 to 10, with 10 being awesome and 1 being absolutely poor. I will never drink this stuff again.
11, 10, 7, 5.
Oh wow.
I give it 10, 10, 8, 7.
Is this fruit punch or watermelon?
Fruit punch.
That's the fruit punch one.
Okay. Definitely giving this a 10. Probably a 9. But on scales of like, is this juice, if it's fresh pressed, is it good?
Let's catch it on a hot summer day. Nice cold glass.
That's
Ice.
Ice.
Mmm.
It's giving
Ice.
really
Ooh.
good.
Make an ice cup out of these.
Oh, now you
Shaved
taking
ice.
us back to the hood.
Hey.
Shaved ice. Italian ice.
You know, just an iced tea, baby. Put it in the
Yeah,
cup.
put it in his
freeze
cup. Reed
it.
cup right
That's
here. I
right
thought
here.
it was on
Oh,
the
and
freezer.
shave it like
Now you just
Give me
eat
a
it, man.
spoon. We
That's
good
what you
to
used to
go.
buy from the hood, from the hood candy store. You know,
Nah, they're
they're
good.
all definitely worthy. This is just not the type of lemonade you expect it to be.
Yeah.
But if you want to give your kids some juice, They gonna like it.
Yeah,
For sure.
And it's fresh pressed.
Did he say where we can
Natural
find these at?
ingredients.
Or we order from him?
He is located here so he presses here at the facility
Oh,
right
so he
behind us.
manufacturing here. So we just need to pull up.
We just need to pull up.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you can access Mr. T's Punchies at 205-310-4847. Or you can reach out to him by email by drinkitspunchy, that's PUNCHIE, at gmail.com. And he's located right here in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah! Shout out to you, Mr. T Punchy.
Woo!
Shout out.
Way to go. Especially. Faves.
Oh, and
Yeah.
before we started, we actually had a sweet tea.
Which
From
was
Mr. T.
off the chain. I'm
really
really
good.
not a sweet tea fan. And because we still got some of this, we should mix this. We should do a half and half.
Arnold Palmer
I was gonna say
or
Tiger Woods.
Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Tiger
saying?
Woods,
Any
you know.
black man.
Yeah. Golf club.
We can call it Antoine Morgan if you like.
I do swing the club.
I say, shout out Mr. T with your punchy. And also, wow, no Diddy. Also, shout out to Zeus with the Alabama Music Awards. Cannot wait to connect with you. If y'all don't know, definitely follow up, check it out. It'll be happening in June, July. It's gonna be hot outside, and Alabama is gonna be live. So shout out to the Alabama Music Awards.
And shout out to all black people with opportunities, access, and resources who extend those to other people within their network without trying to capitalize, overcapitalize on them. We really appreciate you guys for blessing us. We hope this is a blessing to you, and we want to encourage everybody to bless somebody else.
Peace.
I have nothing to say. You know, I